But you know what? Let's talk about another book series here because we do have our next topic, Game of Thrones, Aegon Targaryen, prequel film and series. This comes to us from Variety. Hey there, geeks. This is future Kevin in post-production again. I had a sound technical difficulty issue here, so I'm going to read the article for you right now, and then we'll hop right back to past Kevin's thoughts on this stuff. Okay, here we go. So we got a new Game of Thrones prequel about Aegon the First Targaryen's conquest of Westeros is being actively discussed at HBO. Variety has learned exclusively from sources. As the project is in its very early stages, no writer is currently attached, though sources say that the search is underway as HBO is keen to move forward and get into it. Sources also say that there may be a feature component to the project, i.e. HBO and Warner Bros. Would produce a feature film that would then lead into the potential series, though plans remain in flux at present. The show would tell the story of how Aegon and his sister wives, Visenya and Rhaenys, used their army and their 3 dragons to conquer 6 of the 7 kingdoms of Westeros, with the exception of Dome. In doing so, Aegon I became the first king of Westeros, the first to sit on the Iron Throne, and the founder of the Targaryen dynasty. Those events took place approximately 300 years prior to the events of Game of Thrones. You know what's interesting is there's a lot of people who always make the claim of, what's the point of prequels? We already know what happens. But it's like the journey to see how that happened. I was in love with episodes 1, 2, and 3 for Star Wars when I saw them, even though we already know what's going to happen to Anakin Skywalker. You know, we already know what's going to happen to Obi-Wan Kenobi. What's the point? The point is now you could watch it from the beginning to the very end and actually enjoy the entire plot for what it is. Now, I know, Raul, you haven't watched too much Game of Thrones, right?
Okay, come at me with your torches and pitchforks, everybody. But yes, I did not get into Game of Thrones. Listen, my wife and I, we watched the first 3 episodes, and it was a lot. It was very dark, and it was really hard to get through because, I mean, it was good. The twists and stuff were very intriguing and stuff, but it was just really heavy. And after a while, we were like, let's take a break. Let's get into a comedy. Let's binge a comedy show or something like that. And then we just never got around to it. And I still haven't gotten around to it to this day. And especially I'm the kind of person, like when I hear like a show has ended, and especially if people are like, yeah, the ending wasn't great, then I'm like, oh, well then I don't know if I want to watch it. Because if it's going to end on a sour note, you know, I don't like with what was it? Dexter. You know, for a while, I was like, I got to get in. I got to watch Dexter. And then the season, the final season came around. Everybody's like, it's not good. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to watch Dexter. I don't know. But anyway.
I feel that.
I just never got around to Game of Thrones. So I'm sorry. Please yell at me. Go ahead.
Boo!
Yeah.
As
but
Squidward said.
It's one of those gaps in my pop culture consumption.
Well, I will say, the last Game of Thrones project that came out on HBO Max, House of the Dragon, that's a prequel to the original series.
Right.
So, and that is 1,000,000,000% worth watching. The ending is awesome as well. So I would recommend watching the prequels if you don't like the original stuff. It's actually the reason why I'm actually kind of excited about this project, because Aegon Targaryen, like the first of his name, you know, that's kind of cool to think about, this badass warrior who just dethroned everybody. Of course, he's married to 2 of his sisters, which is very Targaryen of him.
Sister wives.
Wives. Yeah, I don't know how that was like growing up, but you know, it is what it is. They wanted to keep their blood pure for each other. That gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I mean, listen, it sounds like HBO Max is really, or Warner Brothers really, is thinking about how to expand their streaming service. I mean, look at Harry Potter. We've got the Harry Potter series, and now we've got more cinematic universe type of stuff going on with Game of Thrones. They're expanding all their content because they realize that that's the best way to get more viewers. They're just copying Marvel and Star Wars at this point. I think Marvel started it all, but Star Wars has been learning from Marvel, and now every other streaming service follows along after Disney. And I think it's working because, again, if you're promising us that we're going to have content that's just as good as House of the Dragon, I say go for it. Do it and make it awesome, and I will be one of the first people to watch it. Yes, the ending of Game of Thrones kind of rubs people off the wrong way. I'm one of those people that thought it was okay. I will say that. I thought it was okay. It
It
wasn't.
rubbed people off the wrong way. You
Dear,
said.
dear God, there are a lot of naked people in this series.
Jesus.
Doesn't matter what version of the show you watch. There are a lot of naked people, and that's just a given. But
Well, good God.
yeah, it is what it is. But no, again, I'm looking forward to it. I like the idea though of them starting it off as a movie and then going into a TV series. It's almost like they're doing the opposite of The Mandalorian, where Mandalorian has a show, and now it's going to turn into a movie with Dave Filoni. Which also, may I just add, Star Wars Celebration is happening right now as we speak,
Mm-hmm.
and we will be talking about that sometime this upcoming week.
It is
So
April 7th, and look out for an episode coming next week.
yes,
We talk about Star Wars Celebration.
And as you can tell, I'm already excited to talk about it. So, there's going to be a lot to discuss. But yeah, again, I think the streaming services are all starting to follow along what Disney does. And it makes sense. I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Game of Thrones. If they want to continue this stuff in a way that could keep us interested still, that'd be great. I'm very curious about the origins of these types of things. So I'm looking forward to it. But again, Raul, I would recommend you watch House of the Dragon. It is very good.
Maybe I'll at least check out House of the Dragon. So it doesn't. So I don't have to have seen Game of Thrones to watch House of the Dragon, like to understand or enjoy House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon takes place, I think, 150 years or 200 years before the original series. So if anything, it'll lead you into the original series. So you won't miss anything.
But it's only got one season, right? They're going to continue with more seasons, but so far it's just one season.
Correct. Yeah. And again, if they have the same showrunners, same writers, then I think the Aegon series is going to be just as good. And dang, House of the Dragon is incredible.